How we doing, traders? Welcome back to the one, the only Start Swing Trade. Are you guys ready to talk about some swing trading action? And then maybe taking a look at my trade right now. I'm battling in GameStop, of course, in the prop account. We'll talk a little bit about that. Been long since 25.77. Made some money earlier in GameStop. Looking to make a little bit more today. I got back in it, just watching this stock kind of work right now. We'll talk a little bit about that. Take a look at it here. GameStop kind of working. Will I get the breakout towards the 2650s? Kind of that break towards 2625s. I'm going to actually set an alert here to at least let me know if we get through the 21s while this is going on. Of course, you guys could let me know also in the chat. How we doing out there, guys? Smash the like button. Who's ready to talk all about some swing trading action? Of course, if you guys got a big stock that you guys are in right now, let me know in the chat. We can take a look at some of the swing trading action that I actually am looking at right now, maybe taking the profits on. Right now, I started setting up on ARKK. I already took off some profits today. And over 9%. I took some off there at 43.26. And so this is right here when this started coming down on this kind of downturn action. So not bad, taking some off there. That's from 39.06. So pretty good win there. And still have half of the shares left. What I did is I said, if it cuts 42 right now, I'll get out on that move. But trying to ride this higher and let this keep climbing with the trend. We'll see what else is going on right now. Square making another move up today, but also pulling back. It pushed up out the gates, went up there towards 67.50s, then a quick pullback. This one, I'm looking for it to kind of continue the trend, keep pushing higher. I wanted to see it close above 66. That would be a good level to look at. If it does go below, let's say to 65.50s, 65s, that's when I'll start thinking about maybe just taking all my money and running in Square. Not too bad, 7.86%. So it's a really good win. Of course, yesterday we locked in Norwegian Cruise Lines. And then what does it do today? Well, it makes the break up to the upside there. So this is one that we were looking at to fill this kind of gap here. And you guys can see created on 5/25. And we were looking for it to make that move. That's from May 25th. Where are we at? We're on June 7th. Look at the move there towards 1720. Really nice win there. Norwegian Cruise Lines. And you guys can take a look at RCL has that's taken off. And of course, CCL was another one that I was looking at during that time. And what a big move these stocks made. Today in the green there for Intel as it starts to hold. I'm looking to maybe even add to this position. This looks great for me. And I really think this stock could really make a big move in the next couple of weeks. So what I'm going to do is just continue to hold this one. This is one that I want to be in a little bit of a longer time frame mentality, right? And let this kind of push back through 32s and really start getting the motor going in Intel. And I have a decent amount, guys. So it's a full-size position already. I could add a little bit more, but it's not looking too bad right now. LAZR, now that one isn't doing the best today. It did pull back below the 7. Didn't want to see that happen. So I'm just sticking with it right now. I'm pretty much break even on this. I have 685s. So I'm looking to see if this could recover a little bit. Maybe could risk there towards 660s, but not going to risk much in this LiDAR type of play, right? It needs to stay hot. And today, definitely not staying hot. Let's take a look at the SPY. Let's take a look at the Qs, see what's going on right now. Of course, we've seen pullbacks on the hourly. You guys can see around the hourly supports. It seems to be holding on the SPY. Let's take a look at the Qs, see how that's doing on the day. And of course, you guys see the heat, baby. Go heat later today. Qs finding a little bit of a balance here around, let's say, the 349.75. I'm going to look to see if we can get a little bit of some power hour rally here going, at least a relief rally, right? Maybe we make a move towards the VWAP. VWAP right now at 352.21. We'll see if that really can get moving right back up there. And it'd be a nice little move, right? I mean, I could risk a little bit of money here and try to maybe take the Qs towards the upside, but I think that's pushing it a little bit. I'm just going to stick to the GME trade. We'll see what happens. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some other trades in the market. You guys in the chat, smash the like. I already see some dropping in. Smoke Tuna bringing in the NBIS. We'll take a look at that. And it's good to see you guys in the chat. Crow, Raz, EKS, Walter. Definitely smash the like out there. Definitely love my loyal viewers out there. Carmen, how we doing in the markets today? Walter, you doing great, man? It's good to see you in the chat. All right, let's keep going. Max Amber bringing in DIA. We could take a look at that. Is that DLA? That's DIA. I could see it. We'll take a look into that stock in just a few minutes. Let's keep going into different stocks and different outlooks here. First thing I want to do is of course, review kind of different moves, especially from the bigger boys. Let's go to Apple today. You can see a nice little push up and then a quick pullback. I'm looking to see if we're going to hold this 9 EMA, because if it does hold the 9 EMA, we're not looking too bad. We just don't want to see it break like 177 on Apple and then start making its way back. I think this could climb back and then eventually even just push higher. So I'm even thinking about taking a little bit of a swing trade on Apple, but I would want to do it closer towards 177. If I did it here, I'd have to risk right off that 177 if it came back to support. So another stock that we can take a look at, big stocks, right? Look at this big pullback today in Microsoft, and that looks like a little bit of some topping action. So we need to see, is this going to recover at all? That's something definitely to keep watch. Will it be able to catch a bounce here towards this kind of trend line? That's one thing that I'll look for, a little bit of a supporting trend line to come into play. Maybe it comes a little bit into this kind of gap zone here and then finally comes right back up. We'll see what happens there on Microsoft. Definitely turning around today. And I'm getting another up move there in GME. So I got the alert set there. Just got to continue to watch it. I'm going to keep coming back to it because, of course, I am long and I got to take the money and run eventually. I'm not going to play this into earnings, but I did want to see it hold any pullbacks kind of closer towards this kind of 50 moving average. Now it's kind of breaking above that. I want to look to a move towards 2660s. That's where I see a lot of volume waiting to sell there. So that's going to be a little bit of a wall to get through. We'll see if we're able to make our way through there. Next levels to really watch is going to be through this kind of 24. If we can make it through the 25s, from there, I'll be looking for the kind of 2650s to come into play soon enough. We'll find out. All right, if it does get there into the 30s, I'll let you guys know as I continue to watch GME. All right, let's take a look at some other action. Let's go towards some of the bigger stocks there on Tesla. I wanted to see how Tesla was ending the day. This one has been strong. I mean, look at the daily chart. Big move up, but what do you guys see? The anchored VWAP here starting to kind of come back down. I anchored it at the top of the move, and you guys can see it. It is starting to reject. So got to get my man Brian Shannon on here because the anchored VWAP showing a little bit of some topping action there in the 230s. And today, Tesla starting to turn around. So is this something that I can bet maybe to the downside? I could, but the only thing is I would have to risk really tight towards like maybe that 227 recovery. And I'm thinking about it, but it's a big risk overnight to short Tesla. We'll see what happens as it is turning around a little bit here. The Qs turning right back to the downside. Not what we want to see there. As the Qs go lower, we could see a turnaround in the GME trade. And then you see a little pullback action. So I'm keeping an eye on it, but doesn't look like the best right now as we're getting another leg pullback there in the Qs. Will it break through the support of 349? That's one thing that I was watching on kind of the hourly levels and daily levels. What do we kind of hold here towards the 9 EMA? It's cracked down through that level, but I want to see if it can hold kind of this 348 level and really just start making its way back here towards the close. It looks like we're not bouncing right now, at least. Look at the hourly levels. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles right now on the red. Will we turn trend here towards the close? All right, let's get to what stocks were hot today. What wasn't? Energy stocks were hot today. Definitely getting stopped out in my XOM trade. I tried even adding a little bit and then risking off kind of the 107.60s. And this came up through the 108, which is a little bit of a high spike for me. I was looking for more of a hold of this trend line. And now we can kind of get rid of that. We can start taking a new assessment. I'm getting rid of this even 106. And I can take a look here. All right, so how are we looking? We're looking like we're trying to recover about middle of this pattern here. And I'm wondering, is this another topping area that we're seeing right now? Well, I'm definitely not going to be able to go after it today, but it does look like we're topping out around kind of this 109, 110 area again. If it gets through 110, though, it could squeeze a little bit higher. Let's take a look at Oxy. Let's take a look at Chevron. Oxy's kind of pulling back. Chevron really coming back here, as you can see here, right towards these daily levels and kind of turning things around. Oil overall is something to keep eye on. I talked about it this morning on pre-market prep. I've been doing more trying to refer to what I said this morning and seeing what happened. This morning I said, would we get WTI to go back above the 72, or would it go below 72 and crack back into the 60s? Well, you see it today, got up to a high of 73.13, maybe a little bit higher than that, but not a bad move. So I have 73.19 as the high on the day. Went down earlier to 71, but never cracked the 72 once the intramarket had opened. So that shows me right there, it seems like oil wants to hang on right now. But if it does crack 72, I'll be looking to get right back into this. Gushing all over, you guys. Yeah, definitely. Gush is definitely making a nice move there. And I did get a little bit of a move on GME there. Just keeping an eye on it, see if it can just continue kind of riding higher. All right, we'll see what happens on that one. Gush is pushing here and having a hell of a day there. This is the 5-minute chart, and you can see a little bit of a turnaround there in this chart. And this looks a little bit more bullish than kind of a lot of the oil names. A lot of the oil names, they don't look bullish, but this looks pretty bullish here. And so I'd keep an eye on this, right? I know that I have already an outlook towards the bearish side, but that doesn't mean I can't have a bullish outlook on oil. I'll look to see if this can start making its way to 130, especially if Gush can just continue to push. And you see other stocks like Oxy, XOM just start to push through that, especially that 110 area. I can see it kind of getting another move up. All right, catching up in the chat. Helene talking about sell-off before next Fed's meeting. Seems to make sense, right? Next week we'll have the Fed meeting, the FOMC, and we'll also have CPI. I'm thinking that they maybe raise rates again. Could that be what happens and turns around this market right back to the downside? As you guys are seeing, we are leaking on the day. Do I take a swing trade here to go lower? That's the hard part to determine, right? I could do something like an SQQQ and kind of swing it overnight, but it's a pretty tough one to kind of get after. All right, there's DME now up there towards 2630s. Just want to see if this one can continue to drive higher. Made a move to 31s. Let's see if we can get a nice little push into the 2650s and then just continue pushing through. Let's see where the first sellers lined up there. I see in the ARCA about 10,000 shares at 2660s. And who knows, maybe we can blow right through even that order. All right, let's keep going. In a little bit, we'll be joined by Michael Kratz, of course, Trade the Pool. You guys smash the like. I'm excited to go ahead and talk to him. He should be here around 3:30, so we got about 15 minutes for that. The Fed always seems to be hawkish. No, it's also what they're trying to do, right? They try to sometimes do what? Tame expectations. So the market starts to look ahead of the Fed all the time. It has a tendency of thinking what right now that they're going to go into a pause and that they're not going to raise rates. But as we saw in the PCE report, inflation not coming down as fast. And so this leaves them at least a little bit of a window room. And especially if they know that CPI data during their meeting, right? I'm sure they're going to know it. So we'll see what happens. The crazy thing is we get CPI and an FOMC meeting on pretty much the same day. So this is going to be pretty hard to kind of read, and things could be moving all around before next week. And there's also I think it's a quad witch also. I mean, it's just going to be a pretty wild and wicked ride the next week. And this could be kind of more topping action, right? We never know. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at this. I'll keep watch to see if it can just continue, just climbing a little bit higher, climbing a little bit higher. All right, let's go to the other stocks here. Energy, we talked about that. Real estate now getting a little bit of a lift. Of course, if you want to take a look at some of the biggest names in here, you could take a look at PLD, AMT, American Tower Corp. Look at this nice little pullback recently. It just pushed up there towards 194. Now looking like it wants to get right back up there, pulled back here. This is actually a pretty interesting move here in American Tower. I wouldn't mind like maybe risking off of the 190s here to swing it, but I don't play these often, right? I don't play REITs often. And you can see it's kind of bottoming. Had a lot of volume here. Who knows? If it can get through kind of 195, we could start seeing this kind of reverse to the upside. I'll set an alert there for 193.90s to see if it can get through the resistance. All right, did get the alert there. We get through 26 33s, and then it starts pulling back a little bit there. Looking for the last little ride up there in GME. If I can get one more kind of like nice little push towards 2650s, 2660s, I don't mind taking it all out. We'll see if we get that last little push to the upside. Amazon down big today, man. That thing's getting wrecked right now. Look at this move. Definitely just continuing to leak. And this tells me that be careful and maybe like a shop, right? And look how they're very similar. I know that sometimes I get questioned on if Amazon and shop trade similar. I mean, look at the charts right there. And this is on the 5-minute. Look at the daily. Big pullback there in shop. Amazon, big pullback. We'll see what happens if this is an opportunity or something to let go, right? It all depends where you've been looking and where you got in, right? If I got in on Amazon at 100, would I maybe ring the register here? Wouldn't seem too bad, right? If I kept kind of grinding higher. But if I just got in the position, right, and I'm looking for this to kind of catch the bounce at the 9 EMA and 121.86, I can maybe risk towards 120. We'll see what happens there. All right, let's keep going. XLU EX talking about utilities in the chat. Can't blame me on that outlook. I do see you out there, Jim Cruz. Didn't you guys say one time when GME pumps, market goes down? It all depends, Jim. It really just depends on what happens. There's different situations and different current environments. That's what I would point to. All right, we'll see what happens in the Qs. Can we finally get a bounce? Because it seems like we want to go lower. We could crack here, or we could just catch a little bit of a bounce. It's still early here, 319. Let's get to some other stocks here. Industrials continuing higher. Some of these stocks really kind of starting to push here. Honeywell starts getting on my radar. Remember how I talked about how I like this one through 200? It's just been kind of just prying its way here. And I'm looking to see when it could take that next step up here. And I kind of really like this outlook here. At least I have a really good kind of sideways period to go off of. And I don't mind taking a little bit of a shot here on a Honeywell if we're really going to get this up move right back through that 200. And so this one's going to be on the radar. I'm even going to be looking for it. If I do see that move there towards the kind of the 199s, I'll take a little bit of a risk there, maybe off the 196, and look to see if I can get this one right back up there towards 215. Wouldn't be too bad. Does look interesting there on Honeywell. Boeing getting a little bit of a lift at the sideways action. This one could get another push higher as we're seeing industrials kind of go sideways. Look at the weekly here as it's just starting to prop up. Just got a nice little pullback opportunity for you to get in there. Now starting to catch the lift. This one actually looks pretty interesting here as Boeing starts to kind of push higher. Bullish charts in industrials. That's pretty interesting. XLI is another way to kind of go after this. Look how XLI is starting to push away from here. And so if you're looking for opportunities here, this doesn't look too bad. This tells me that I should look at what? Deer and cat. Why not? And you guys can see them pushing higher right now. Cat. The cat's out the hat again, man. And look at that. It's pushing right back towards the upside. So that tells me even look down the line, right? Pakar. Has Pakar gone yet? Look at that. In 3-4 days, big push there in Pakar. And ITW is another name. Look at that push today as this one's kind of lagging behind the action of Deer, Cat, and Pakar, and now starts to play a little bit of catch up. So keep your eyes on these. These do look really good here. FedEx getting a big push up there, and it looks like it's being able to hold its daily pullback. I talked about this long-term trend line. It kind of cracked it for a second here, now recovers it, and that looks like it wants to go right back towards the upside. Keep your eyes on these, but industrials getting a nice little lift here today, and you guys can keep watch. There's a lot here to kind of watch, and a lot of stocks that could get you a little bit of a bounce, right? CTAS. Let me see which kind of stocks kind of had their biggest day here that have a little bit bigger names here. So I'm looking at SYM, Symbiotic, nice little push higher in the 40s. So it seems like we're definitely getting a decent move here in industrials. Let me take a look at GE. GE doesn't stop, won't stop. Will it push up through the channel? It just keeps staying in that channel. We'll see what happens. All right, catching up with the chat. What's going on out there? Smoked Tuna talking about Palantir. Lost its gas today. Let's take a look at that. I'll get into that stock right now. I just want to take a look at technology. Of course, we see a little bit of some topping action. We talked already about some of these. Nvidia really kind of turning around. And so just be careful there. You guys can see how Nvidia's really kind of pulled back. Is it going to break the support? It did crack it just a little bit. I'm looking at kind of hourly support levels to see if those can hold, especially on this 377.50 level. If that can hold, it won't be looking too bad. But if that cracks, I might want to get out of here, right? And so I'm going to keep watch to see what happens on NVIDIA to see if we get this next level of cracking, right? And right now it's kind of right off of that level, just went through it and now trying to recover that level. We'll look to see if it can recover here towards the close. All right, smash the like out there, team. We got a lot more to talk about. You guys wanted to talk about Palantir. I got no problem taking a look at that, as that looks like it's finally done a little bit of a blow off top look, right? Of course, we can look to see if it can come back up through that 1530s, but definitely a big push there to 17 and then starting to turn around. Of course, we got to remember that this one has a lot of overhead supply, and that's going to happen when we run into a stock that has a bunch of overhead supply. And what was the prior support from all this pattern? It was right around here, around the 1696. So doesn't seem like a bad level to kind of top out. Today we got to 1716, right back down there to 1467. And that just goes to show me that, hey, this move could be done in Palantir. All right, we'll see what else is going on there. GME now pulling back there. It still hasn't taken that next step up there. Got up there towards 34, but started to turn around. A lot of this, as we see a little bit of weakening here in the Qs, you can see at least the bottoming action there right around that 349. We'll look to see if we break that 349 or come back to the VWAP. All right, I can keep going. You guys can always drop other stocks to take a look at. Crassy saying Honeywell might be a good hedge for a tech pullback. Yeah, doesn't look too bad there, and it definitely looks like it could take a step up. All right, is Joel here today? Joel is not here today, and I know that his show is probably down right now. I know he's out, so you're probably not going to be able to see the closing print right now, at least for the end of the week. All right, let's keep going. We'll take a look at some other action to take a look around. Healthcare kind of pulling back on the day and kind of rejecting the VWAP right now. We've seen drug manufacturers really kind of take a turnaround. Bios kind of take a turnaround. And I think that we got to continue to watch, right? We did see a little bit of an everything rally recently, but we need to continue to watch to see if healthcare is going to take part in this. Of course, this is kind of more that growth at reasonable value. But if tech starts taking a turnaround, will healthcare also take a turnaround? It's deep in the red today. We'll continue to watch. I'm watching names also like Lilly to see if those top out. And you can see it here, how it just doesn't seem to have the same strength that it had just a little while ago when it kept breaking through new highs. All right, we'll see what happens there on Eli Lilly. There's a lot of stocks to keep an eye out. Communication services, T-Mobile, did that kind of come all the way back? No, it actually takes another hit to the downside. And of course, we heard about the rumor there with Amazon, but it's still taking a hit. And Amazon, man, it's continuing to leak down. And this isn't going to help the market right now. So the Qs overall trying to turn this around, trying to turn around the 1 hour red candles. But for right now, the trend's your friend. And it's right now to the downside, at least on the intraday. All right, Quantum talking about Stitch Fix. Let's take a look at Stitch Fix. Possible flagging pattern mentioned in the chat. Bull flag. Let's take a look. See if it's that pattern that we see there. One way to do this, so you could also take a look at the hourly. Hourly might clean this up a little bit here. And you guys can see here, it doesn't look like too bad of a pattern here. And let's go towards more like a 15-minute here to kind of draw it up towards the highs. And you can see there, kind of nice little kind of push higher. And then what you also see here is an upslope in trend line. I would draw it. And so to me, this would be kind of more what I would call a bull pennant versus a bull flag. But it's okay. It's okay to call it a bull flag because maybe if you draw it on kind of the 1 hour, you can draw it kind of similar to here. The big thing with a flag and a pennant is that you want to see that the trend lines are kind of going in the same direction, not kind of going towards the middle. When it going into the middle, like I see it here, I see it kind of more of a bull pennant. That's the difference between a bull pennant and a bull flag. the flag has two sloping trend lines in the same direction versus the pennant that kind of goes towards that middle spot. And then we'll look to see if we can get that push back towards 5 and get back there towards the high. Interesting chart there on Stitch Fix, and we'll look to see if it takes the next step up. All right, that was a big move there on Stitch Fix, so we'll look to see if it pushes. It's been just hanging around the VWAP all day long. Let's see if it takes the next step. Clay also having a really good day, pushing up there all the way to it got to 42.77. Big day there for Dave & Buster's. Look at the daily on this. Big change towards the upside. Now the only thing to kind of keep watch is, can it keep going? Can it catch a pullback and really kind of make a second week move, a second day move? That's what I'd be watching for, because it's been already kind of this day 2 with the earnings. But now we want to see it kind of really kind of push and continue this push higher, get to 45. But is really kind of Dave & Buster's where I'm expecting to see a huge breakout? Probably not. But there's a longer term trend line to keep in mind, right? There is this kind of monthly line to kind of keep watch. And one thing's for certain, we definitely know that 30 is acting as great support here. And Dave & Buster's, that's play for you. We'll see what happens. All right, it's about 3:28 in 2 minutes. I'll be joined by my guest. I am getting a little bit of a pullback here in GME, so I got to make my decision. Am I going to take the money and run on the day, or am I going to battle here? The Qs overall trying to hold on here, so we'll see what happens. I'll see what I decide during the interview. Of course, I'll let you guys know, and we'll continue pushing forward. You guys smash the like. Anything else being mentioned in the chat? Why have we sold off today? Lexum is talking about in the chat. Well, the truth is that we're getting pullbacks in some of the strongest names, right? I talked about it. Amazon, Nvidia, right? Those names are pulling back. Look at AMD today. So it seems like a tech pullback. Does it mean that stocks are broken? By any means, right? We won't know that until it's hindsight 2020. But the SPY definitely topping out multiple times here, close towards like the 430s. Today we got to 429.62. On Monday we got to 429.62. So that seems like a clear double top there on the SPY. Definitely to watch out for. Are we going to pull back to the 9 EMA? That very much could happen too. That's a move to 423.54 and a bigger pullback than what we're seeing right now. All right, that's going to do it for my SPY outlook. You guys smash the like. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you for hitting the like there, Lexum. Let's keep going. Holding GME. We'll pop after hours, said Jared Jenkins. Can't blame you on that. I'm taking my shot. We'll just have to find out. All right, let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and get out of the markets. We're going to go to our interview today. You guys know him, Michael Kratz. Trade the pool. Let's bring him. How we doing, Michael?
What's going on, Mitch? How you doing, buddy?
It's good to see you there. Let's get into it. Let's talk a little bit about your trading action recently. What's been going on? What are you seeing in the market?
I mean, first of all, I love the drop in the Qs, and the NASDAQ was amazing. And it was kind of obvious, we had a great run to the upside. VIX dropped to major support levels. So it just made sense technical-wise that we would see that drop in the Qs. I didn't expect, a very sharp move like we did see today, but definitely a nice pullback, as you mentioned, So... me, I'm just trading intraday mostly. So I took Tesla just a few hours ago.
Nice.
But I took it for the long side. So in most cases, in most cases, I'm just looking for buying the dip. So let me share. Can I share my screen?
Of course, Michael. Go ahead. Share your screen. You can see at the bottom, present there. We'll get it up in just a second. Super excited to talk about it. And like always, guys, you guys can see the link down below. If you guys want to check out Trade the Pool, get your 14-day free trial there. You guys will find the link, and I'll definitely throw it up in the chat in just a second here. All right, let's get into it. I see you getting your charts up there. I'll throw up the link. Super excited to see what happens. I'm battling over here on the day. I still got a little piece of GME, so keeping one eye open here. You know how that one goes, Michael.
Yeah, definitely. Let's see.
No worries. Super excited to see also what you've been getting into, because I see you all the time, man, and I love the way that you make it simple sometimes on your levels. So excited to see what's going on here in Tesla. It's been making a huge move as of late. And I like the hourly levels here. So let's go ahead. Let's take a look here. I'm putting up your chart here. Let's take a look.
So basically, we're looking at the daily chart. That's also, just getting the feeling of the cues. Tesla made a huge move, right, from all the way from 150 up to 2 something. So, I mean, it makes sense that we will see a pullback, right? So we got that in the cues. We got that in the tech companies, as you mentioned before. And I actually missed that drop. It was a great drop, but I missed that. And what I did is basically starting to buy around the level as it continued to accumulate, So just as you just mentioned with like a bull flag or just a triangle, right? You can easily mark the levels from here. And as soon as it started to accumulate, I started to add to that position and basically covered all the way from the first pop. It dropped, I added more and covered right here, right at the top, because it's also reached resistance level. You can easily see that the resistance here, the support was here, so that made sense to take some partials out. So basically, I'm entering. You can see I did 47 entries and exits. Right, that's kind of a lot for one trade. But what I'm doing, yeah. So basically, what I'm doing is just adding. Let's do that. Yeah. So I'm basically adding to the position. I never go in, and this is something I always talk about in other webinars and stuff like that. You don't want to go full into your position, right? So if you're buying, you want to give yourself enough space. You're like getting in chunks. So you give yourself enough space that if it goes against you, you can add more to your position, like basically averaging down, but averaging down within the risk parameters, right? So this is exactly what I did. So once I entered, it went against me. I added more here and here, and only then it started to go to my favor. So in most cases, you don't. This is why I like scaling in and scaling out, because you don't really need to, be so accurate on your entry, right? It's not if missing a cent or so. That's incredible to actually just buy around the level instead of just going all in. And obviously, you still need to know how much you're risking per trade. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's very important. I talk about this all the time, and I think that in a kind of even a low commission, free commission kind of environment, you need to be trying to give yourself an advantage, right? Why not trade like the machines, right? Do the machines go and then they put in all the order at once? No, they don't do that. They build it up, right? And I think that one thing is I think about that all the time. How can I trade more like an algorithm versus trade unlike an algorithm, right? The algorithms build up that position. We see all that flow coming through. And a lot of times that's like 100 shares, right? I mean, we see that all the time where it's just like piece by piece. And this is why I also agree with kind of averaging into your position. Of course, always keeping max risk involved and knowing exactly what that is. But if you can go about that, then we don't have to worry so much about being perfectly timing the market, which is, I think, one of the hardest things. Let's just be honest, especially if you're going to be putting big positions on to be perfectly at the right time when the market's going to go, right? Let's just be honest. There's very few traders that could probably do that.
Yeah, you don't really need to do that. That's something that you maybe learn on YouTube channels or stuff like that. Guys that are trying to sell you whatever. But basically, once you understand that you're in control of that trade, you're managing that trade, again, within the risk parameters, you don't really need to time the market. You just need to find the good area of support, for example, if you're buying, and start accumulating your position and scaling into that. Start my golden, when we work with the guys in our prop firm, we basically have a golden rule, right? You have a daily loss, take 30% out of your daily loss for each position, a good setup, and cut that 30% into chunks. So start with 10% risk, then add another 10, and then add another 10. So So you're basically building your position, and you're not blowing your account like in a lot of cases that we usually hear about.
Yeah, and it's common. I think that you have to find what works for you, especially what type of trader you're trying to do. But I've definitely found over time that the truth is being perfectly timed in the market is very, very difficult. And so I too, I try to piece. Sometimes it's 3, sometimes it's 5, and sometimes it could be as many as 10 or more entries. I think what matters more is understanding where you're trying to get to and having that kind of plan before you start getting into it, right? So thinking, okay, so final position for me is going to be 600 shares. How am I going to go about getting towards that 600 shares, right? Am I going to do it by 100? Am I going to do it by 50? And then also, how does that play in, right? What are my levels that I'm looking at to try to get in there? And sometimes maybe not even getting some fill. Like sometimes I'll look at a trade and let's say if the trade's at $10 and it's pulling back, I want to start getting in at 990. I can put in 990, 975, 970, 960s, 950s, and kind of ladder it down like the way the algos do it all the time, right? And then if for any reason the 950 or the 960 doesn't get hit and it just goes in my direction, am I going to be mad that I didn't get the full size position and I have a winner? I mean, I don't think you'd be mad about that one, Michael.
No, and I would actually even look to add more to my position once it goes to my favor. You got to scale in, even if it goes against you, but also when it goes to your favor, definitely. And everyone is doing it, not even just the algos, even Warren Buffett, right? He goes, he buy X amount of shares, and he add to the position along the way. This is the way the market works. You don't really
look
need
at Oxy.
Specific. Yeah, exactly.
A perfect example is Oxy. It goes up, it comes down, it goes up, it comes down, and as long as it's in his sweet spot, he's taking more, man. And that's what it's all about. And then also, of course, with this downturn, I think it's very important to have different opportunities, right? You played along today on the Tesla, but I think on a day like this, we need to be able to also flip, right? Not just be long traders. This is where I think it gets very difficult for some traders out there, let's say on, not to bash them or anything, but like, let's say Robinhood, where you don't even have shorts available to you. This could be very detrimental to a trader, right?
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, as a trader, even swing or a day trader, you got to have the ability to execute and play with every tool that you have, right? It's like you're going to a war. You got to have soldiers on the ground, but you got to have planes
people
as
in the
well,
air.
and you got to have the
Exactly.
ships and everything. So that's the same idea. Obviously, us in Trade Pool, we have 12,000 symbols. You can short penny stocks, even hard to borrows. You can go long, you can go short. We have all the ETFs, the Ultra and the ProShare, everything. So you gotta have the right tools, everything you need in order to execute right. So yeah. Makes sense.
And I love it. And I've used some of those tools. The other day, I was even able to short like AI while a lot of people were struggling to short AI. And I think that things like this, very important, having access to tools. So, of course, you guys hear us talking about Trade the Pool. You guys can definitely check this out. Get your 2-week trial, of course, and test it out. See what you guys think of it, right? And I think another thing that I wanted to talk to you about, Michael, is that we are having this downturn in the market. What are you thinking about some of the top stocks? Do you think that stocks like NVIDIA have just gone way too big, way too far? I mean, this has been a monster move, man.
Yeah, NVIDIA it's a crazy one. And, we should see a pullback. If I'm taking, I'll share my charts from Thinkorswim just to because my analysis is right here. So I'm looking at the NQ, the NASDAQ 100 on a 4-hourly chart, right? So a few things that was supposed to give us this alert of that drop, because I did talk about it before in pre-market with one of our partners. And first of all, it was great to see, just a price section wise, you see a breakthrough of resistance, high volume coming in. That's a classic way to manipulate the price. And then we get in this consolidation. I actually thought that the price would start falling yesterday, but it did. It took some stop losses out, and then we got that nice drop. You can see a negative diversion in the MACD. Also a great tool you can use in order to understand the shift of the momentum. But generally speaking, we are still in that trend line, right? That big trend line, or actually a channel that we're trading in for the last, like from the beginning of the year. So I can expect, so what I'm expecting is basically reaching support level, either the one below around the 14,200, or maybe even lower than that, going all the way to the 14. But generally speaking, we still have room for the upside to reach that resistance level of the channel. And this is a major resistance level around the 15,000. So even if we're pulling back now, for me, it's just a buy the dip mode,
Yeah.
Just give it a go a little bit to the downside, get more people in, and then go all the way up to the 15. That's
We'll see it. I mean, it seems like we're definitely in kind of more of a bubble mentality, a bull market back mentality, especially with the AI, and we've seen the way the market can go when it just wants to continue lifting. I think a big part of this, of course, will be what does the FOMC meeting bring next week. We'll keep watch on things like that, but I think the only thing we can do as traders is just keep trading the price action, right? And then just keep trying to keep it simple.
In today's market, you gotta just trade the market. Just gotta see the price action and trade it. It's from the corona, it's been so much. I don't want to say easier, but that's the word that I'm having right now in my head. So much more liquidity, much more volatile. This is exactly what we're looking for as traders. Even if you do swing, but obviously when you're doing day trading, you gotta have this. And also a nice chart to look at is the VIX, the volatility index on the hourly chart. It went all the way down to that crazy support level between the 1570, 80, like a buck of a support area. And now we broke that. You can see the MACD is reaching higher. That means that the price should continue to the downside just to create that positive diversion, right? The MACD will create new higher lows while the price will create new higher lower lows. And then the price will turn back on the VIX, which means that the S&P, the NASDAQ will drop. So I'm always correlating my analysis with the VIX.
Love it. And a lot of people have a tendency of not being able to understand how we can use the VIX, right? It's a very important tool. It's so important to also kind of catch the turns. So very good analysis there. You guys see the combination of also bringing an indicator in there to kind of help you understand what you're seeing. But I did want to also touch before you get out of here, Michael, the packages and the difference between them, right? I feel like this is one of the most important things that some people might just get wrong, right? And I think that there's plenty of different ways to go about it. If you guys want to check out Trade the Pool, just really quickly, I wanted to bring it up on the screen here, the different packages. You guys can see from 97 all the way up there towards 1240, which could get you in exposure there of a total of the 260,000, right? The max exposure there. So you guys can see it. You can go from a small account of a 20,000 or a big account like 260,000 if you're able to make it through the trial period.
I'll say something a little bit about that. Generally speaking, on a prop firm, right? Because a lot of the guys obviously go to their own account, open an account with a broker, whatever it is, whoever it is, but they need to put like $5,000, $10,000, $50,000. In that sense, it doesn't make sense, at least for today, because you can actually pay like $97. You get to a evaluation phase. If you pass that, you continue to trade and make profit and split the profit between us, right? Instead of, you can take 10 times the super buying power evaluation and pass it on the 10th time, and still that's, you paid $3,000, but that's still great amount that you will get, like $80,000 exposure, instead of putting it within your broker account. So
Yeah.
these days, with this accessibility, it just makes sense to go with a prop.
Definitely. I mean, and you can work it all the way up to an 80-20 payout. Right now I'm taking the 60-40 attempt, trying to get it up there, and I'll keep battling. I think the important part also is to be able to test your abilities, especially for those new traders out there, right? This is a great way to go in ahead and seeing if you could make it, right? There's one way to doing it, is actually testing it out, right? And putting it into an account, seeing what you can do. So go ahead and test your skills, guys. If you guys want to go ahead and check it out, or you guys just want to check out the 14-day trial, there's the link in the chat. Appreciate you joining me like always. Michael, Trade the Pool CEO. We'll have you back. Talk a little trading action. Talk a little Tesla long. You can't be mad at this guy. Elon should even love you, my friend. We'll have you back on, Michael. Take care.
All right. Take care, guys.
Have a good one. All right, we're going to go back to the market action. You guys smash a like for that. That was a great interview. Just want to go ahead and get a look into the cues. Are we still just dropping down? It seems like that's exactly what's going on. Let's go to the 5-minute here. As you see that 348.50 break now, and GME just hanging in here. So I think I'm just going to take the profits and run. It's not as much profits as I wanted to, but it's not doing much here. 25.96. All right, taking it there from 25.77. It's just a small little gain there. Doesn't do much there for me. I'm just going to continue to watch to see what happens there. I think overnight it could get a nice little lift, of course, GME. And I think it could push. I tried to ride it up for the intraday action. Of course, maybe you guys can take a look at it on the swing trading action, but off of earnings, it's just too much risk for me. So I'll take that and run. We'll see what else is going on. Crocs getting a nice little run up again and a nice little push higher. We'll see if this can continue to kind of make a move. Nike, I'm looking to see if it can go to 110, get back up there. Deckers, what's up with the deck? Deck made a move right back. Look at that. Right back towards the 500 high. So if that can make the move, why not Crocs? Right back to the high. We'll see. Definitely strong is strong there. And green is green. Raz, can't be mad about that. Helene, how you doing out there? We'll see what happens there if Crocs can get back to 131. Let's take a look at NVIDIA. That probably keeps coming down. Will it be able to hold here? It doesn't look like it's going to be able to hold the support around kind of right here, this kind of support here around the 376.60s as we're down to 374.30s. Next stop for me is going to be this low of this candle, 366.35. So 366.35 is closer towards like right here. We'll see if it's able to catch that support on the pullback. It's on the 9 EMA right now. AMD made a huge, nice little up move yesterday. Now giving it all back today. Is this the move where we should be looking at maybe a swing in SOX S? This is also a thing to kind of keep in mind, right? This made a move up there from around the 11.14s up to 12 today. We'll look to see if this can keep moving tomorrow. Do we see continued pullback? We'll have to wait and find out. Right now, it isn't looking the best for these tech names, but they could always catch a bounce, right? GME could be ripping. I don't know, man. I could have got, out a little bit early there. It already is making a little bit of a move here. I'm just not going to watch in these last 10 minutes because I know the earnings call is going to come. I'm going to feel the FOMO, and like a trader, you always got to know when the emotions start to kick in. I got out, take the little bit of profit. We'll see if we can continue pushing in the market. All right, swing trades overall. Let's take a look right back towards it. ARKK now finally catching a little bit of a bounce. Didn't get stopped out there through the 42. So still got a little bit of piece here in ARK. We'll see if this can continue driving higher. Square now pushing back towards 66.37. So I'm going to keep my piece of Square. Intel looking good here, 31.23. That's one that I would say held a pretty nice pattern today. Look at this 15-minute. Look at the hourly pattern in Intel. I really like this hourly pattern. Now I just want to see it push through 32 and drive back towards like 33. We're going to be looking really nice in this swing trade for Intel. I have a feeling that Intel has changed their story with just one mention between NVIDIA and Intel. And just like that, you're seeing volume starting to come back in. I kind of like this move. I'm just going to look to see if we can get to 33. And then I can look to even add more on pullbacks. You guys smash the like always. It's 3:52. I'm going to wrap it up a tiny bit early here. You guys smash the like and see what we get into the earnings tonight. Of course, GameStop will be coming out. It's Thursday. I got, of course, a little bit of some Wednesday. I got a little bit of some baseball action coming a little later today. We'll see if I'm able to hit another home run. But like always, we never know when we're going to hit a home run. The best way to get a home run in stock trading, I feel, is always doing what? Just trying to set yourself up for the big move. Sometimes you're going to get it. Sometimes you're not. GME today looking like it's setting up for the move after hours. It's been a nice looking chart. I like the pullback action. It caught the bounce. It looks to go higher here. We'll look to see if it can push to 26.25. 2660s. There's a lot of volume waiting there at 2660s. And I think that a lot of that is kind of more bag buyers that are kind of above and want to get out. We'll look to see if this can drive higher with the earnings tonight. Will they have an AI mention? I'm sure something will be mentioned with AI. The only question, can they really get it moving? We'll find out. All right, team, definitely smash the like out there. We'll see what happens there. Mullen to delist. It could. It could. I mean, I don't know, man. I haven't trusted this one bit. Looks like it might be ending right there. We'll find out. All right, smash the like, laugh out loud Thursday. I believed you. Yeah, I know, Raz. I believed myself there for a second. I was like, hold on. Is it Thursday? Really? No, Wednesday, team. I'm already looking forward towards Thursday. That's what it is. I'll see you guys bright and early on, of course, pre-market prep. Dennis, Dick, myself, Joel out for the rest of the week. You know things get crazy when I let Dennis get on his rants. So it's only I and Dennis. There's going to be some rants. Find out tomorrow, pre-market prep. Hit the like. Always good to see you guys in the chat, and great stream today. We'll keep pushing, and we'll have a great trader join us on Friday, Christian Fromhertz. I'll be trying to get another guest for us tomorrow. Stay tuned. I'll let you know about it on pre-market prep in the morning. Hit the like on the way out.